Before there was an empire, before kings carved their names into stone, before Persia ruled from the Indus River to the shores of the Mediterranean, there was only fire and stone, and a people who refused to disappear. In a land where deserts burned by day and mountains froze by night, a forgotten tribe began to believe that order could rise from chaos, that truth could stand against lies, and that destiny was not written by the gods alone but forged by human will. This is not the story of a single king. This is the story of how ancient Persia was born, from fire and stone. Long before Persia became a name feared and respected across the ancient world, the Iranian Plateau was a harsh and unforgiving place. Vast deserts stretched endlessly under the sun. Towering mountains cut the land into isolated valleys. Rivers were rare, and survival was never guaranteed. Yet this difficult land shaped a resilient people. Nomadic tribes moved with their herds. Following the seasons, they learned to read the land, to endure scarcity, and to value discipline over comfort. Among these tribes were the early Indo-Iranian peoples, ancestors of the Persians, who brought with them ancient beliefs about cosmic order, moral choice, and the eternal struggle between truth and chaos. Fire became sacred, stone became shelter, and endurance became identity. These early communities did not build cities yet. They built traditions, passed through oral stories, rituals, and laws that governed how people treated one another. Even in this early age, the idea of justice was central, not imposed by rulers, but upheld by belief. At the heart of early Persian civilization was a powerful spiritual idea that the universe was governed by order, not randomness. Light opposed darkness. Truth opposed deceit. Every human choice mattered. Fire, pure and ever-burning, symbolized clarity and divine order. It was not worshipped as a god, but respected as a sacred force, a bridge between the human and the eternal. This belief system shaped how early Persians viewed power. Kings were not meant to rule through fear alone. A ruler's legitimacy depended on justice, honesty, and the protection of their people. To rule unjustly was to invite chaos. To rule wisely was to align with cosmic order. This philosophy would later become one of Persia's greatest strengths, setting it apart from empires built purely on conquest and terror. For centuries, the Persian tribes lived under the shadow of mightier civilizations. To the west, Mesopotamian empires rose and fell. To the north, warlike kingdoms expanded their influence. Persia was often conquered, taxed, or ignored. The Medes, a powerful Iranian people, eventually unified many of these tribes. Under Median rule, the Persians were not free, but they were learning. They observed how empires functioned. They learned administration, warfare, diplomacy, and the fragile nature of power. Stone cities rose. Roads connected distant regions. Armies marched not just with weapons, but with logistics and command. The Persians waited, and they remembered. From within this world emerged a leader who would change history not through cruelty, but through vision. Raised among warriors and shepherds, he understood both hardship and loyalty. He learned that fear could win battles, but respect could hold empires together. When the moment came, the Persians rose not as rebels driven by rage, but as a people convinced they were meant to rule differently. Battles were fought, kingdoms fell, but what followed was unprecedented. Instead of destroying cultures, Persia absorbed them. Instead of erasing traditions, it protected them. Instead of ruling by terror, it ruled by law. For the first time, an empire formed not just around conquest, but around principles. The Persian Empire expanded rapidly, yet carefully. Roads were carved through mountains. Cities were rebuilt rather than burned. Local leaders were preserved, languages respected, and religions allowed to flourish. Stone inscriptions declared royal authority, but also royal responsibility. The king was not above the law. He was its guardian. Fire temples burned across the land, reminding both ruler and subject that truth was eternal and power was temporary. Persia became a network of cultures bound together not by fear, but by stability. Merchants traveled safely. Farmers prospered. Knowledge flowed across borders. For many, life under Persian rule was better than before. What truly made ancient Persia rise was not its armies, but its understanding of governance. Power, the Persians believed, was a trust, not a weapon. They built systems of taxation that avoided ruin. They respected local customs. They punished corruption among officials. They understood that an empire could only survive if its people believed in it. This was radical for its time. Empires before Persia ruled like storms, violent, short-lived, destructive. Persia ruled like a structure engineered, balanced, enduring. From fire came moral clarity. From stone came permanence. But even the most enlightened empire could not escape the burden of scale. As Persia grew, challenges multiplied. Distance weakened control. Ambition bred rivalry. Luxury softened discipline. Enemies watched, learned, and waited. The same tolerance that unified the empire also made it vulnerable. Maintaining balance required constant wisdom, and wisdom is never guaranteed. Yet even as cracks formed, Persia's legacy endured. Ancient Persia did not rise by chance. It rose because a people believed that order mattered, that truth had power, and that leadership carried moral weight. From deserts and mountains, from fire and stone, they built something greater than conquest, a vision of empire rooted in justice. Long after the palaces crumbled, long after the fires went dark, the ideas of Persia continued to burn quietly through history. Because empires may fall, but the principles that create them can last forever. And this was only the beginning.